Nobody tells you what to do on the first night. Not your family, not the government, not the shelters, because half of them have wait lists 6 months long. You are standing on a sidewalk with everything you own stuffed into whatever bag you could grab on the way out. And every single system that was supposed to catch you just let you hit the ground. Here is the thing nobody says out loud. It is not the cold that kills people in those first nights. It is not the danger. It is the decisions made in panic, made by someone who has never done this before, someone who does not know the rules of a world they just got dropped into without a map. The next 72 hours will determine whether you survive this with your options intact or become one of the 30% who never find their way back. Nobody hands you the map. Until now. Here is what no pamphlet, no government hotline, and no well-meaning advice column will ever tell you plainly. The first 3 days of homelessness are the most statistically dangerous period a person can experience in the developed world, not because of what you think, because of 6 decisions, 6 specific layers that most first-time homeless people get catastrophically wrong before they even realize there were decisions to make. And those mistakes close doors that should not even be closing yet. This is for the person who lost their housing yesterday, the person sleeping in their car who knows it cannot last another week, the person watching someone they love standing at the edge of this and trying to figure out how to pull them back. Every rule here is real. Every resource is documented. Because the knowledge exists, it has always existed. It just lives behind doors that nobody told you how to knock on. Before we go any further, drop a comment. Tell me what the moment was, the turning point, the day you knew things were about to get this bad. Because understanding exactly where people fall is how we figure out where to catch them. And what you are about to learn will completely change the way you see what survival actually looks like in this country. Let's start with the single most dangerous LIE embedded in how we talk about homelessness in America. The image the culture handed you, a man under a bridge, a shopping cart, a cardboard sign, has been burned so thoroughly into the public imagination that when someone loses their housing for the first time, they do not recognize themselves in it. They are not that. They are just in a temporary situation. And so they spend 3, 4, 5 critical days refusing to walk into a shelter, refusing to call a hotline, refusing to access the resources built specifically for them, because those resources are for homeless people and they are not homeless people. That gap, that distance between where you are and where you are willing to admit you are, that is the single most lethal factor in the first 72 hours. Not the cold, not crime. The story you are telling yourself about who you are. According to the National Alliance to End Homelessness, on any given night in the United States, roughly 650,000 people experience homelessness. And that number only captures people counted in official point-in-time surveys. The actual number, including people in cars, in abandoned buildings, cycling through friends' couches, is dramatically higher. And the majority of those people faced a housing crisis for the very first time with no preparation, no map, no warning. The system was not built to help you quickly. It was built to process you slowly. Nobody inside it will tell you that. So let's go layer by layer through what actually works. Layer 1, location. This is the decision that cascades into everything else. Where you sleep on night 1 is not a comfort decision. It is a legal and safety decision with consequences that reach into day 2 and day 3 and beyond. Most people in this situation for the first time default to a park, a train station, or their car if they still have one. 2 of those 3 options carry serious hidden risks. Sleeping in a park in most American cities is technically illegal under municipal anti-camping ordinances that have been aggressively enforced since the early 2010s. You can be woken by police, you can be issued a citation, you cannot pay. A citation you cannot pay can become a warrant. A warrant can block you from shelter intake. You can see how one wrong decision on night one quietly closes a door you did not even know existed yet. The safer alternatives, and these are locations that street outreach workers give directly to people in crisis, are emergency warming centers, 24-hour laundromats, hospital emergency waiting areas. If you have any health concern at all, 24-hour diners, if you have even a small amount of cash, and bus or train stations in cities where they stay open overnight. None of those locations are illegal to occupy. All of them are heated. All of them put you near other people. That last point matters more than most first-timers realize. Not for company, for safety. Isolation is the exact condition that every predator, including hypothermia, depends on. Hypothermia deserves its own moment. It kills people who never see it coming. The human body begins losing its ability to regulate core temperature when exposed to air below 50 degrees Fahrenheit for extended periods. Wet cold from rain, damp ground, or soaked clothing accelerates that process dramatically. What makes it lethal for first-time street sleepers is that the early symptoms feel nothing like an emergency. They feel like tiredness, a strange warmth, the urge to sleep. If you are cold and you cannot get warm, walk into an emergency room. That is a documented survival technique used by outreach workers across the country. Not a last resort, a tool. Layer 2, documentation. This is the layer that determines your access to almost every formal resource available to you in the days and weeks ahead. If you left your housing with your ID, your social security card, and your birth certificate, you are in a meaningfully better position than someone who did not. These 3 documents are the functional keys to virtually every assistance system, including shelter intake, SNAP benefits, Medicaid enrollment, housing voucher applications, and employment background checks. If you have them, protect them before you protect anything else. Do not keep them loose in a bag. If you have a working phone, photograph both sides of every document immediately and back them up to email or cloud storage so you can access them from a different device later. If you lost your documents or left in circumstances where grabbing them was impossible, the pathway back is slower, but absolutely navigable. Most states allow a replacement birth certificate request for between $10 and $30. Social Security replacement cards are free through any Social Security Administration office. The hardest recovery is a state-issued identification because most DMV offices require proof of identity to issue new identification. This creates a documented, recognized catch-22. Homelessness organizations have built specific programs to address it. This is called Identification Recovery Assistance. It exists as a named service inside many shelters and social service agencies. When you walk into any shelter intake office, use these exact words. I need help recovering my ID. Those words connect you to someone who resolves this specific problem every single day. Learn the language. The language opens different doors than desperation does. Layer 3, the 211 call. Write this number somewhere that is not on only your phone. 211. It operates in every U.S. state. It connects you in real time to a local social services information line staffed by coordinators who can tell you where the nearest shelter beds are tonight, where food distribution is happening today, and what emergency resources currently exist in your specific county. It is not a perfect system. Information can be outdated. Wait times vary. Operators differ in their depth of knowledge. But it is the single fastest way for someone with zero familiarity with the homelessness services system to make contact with real, local, verified resources. When you call, have a specific statement ready. Outreach workers recommend saying this exact phrase: I am experiencing a housing emergency. I need the nearest emergency shelter with beds available tonight and any same-day food resources near me. Specific language moves you through the system faster than vague distress. The person on the other end handles hundreds of these situations. Give them exactly what they need to route you efficiently. If your phone is dead, solutions exist that most people overlook. Public libraries in every major city have free computer access and charging. Many fast food restaurants, coffee shops, and retail chain stores have visible charging stations near seating. Shelters and outreach vans carry charging resources as a standard service. Keeping your phone alive in the first 72 hours is not a luxury. It is a survival tool. It is your access to the 211 system, to GPS navigation toward shelter locations, and to every person in your support network who does not yet know where you are. Here is the part that should genuinely make you angry. The resources exist. The shelters, the food banks, the intake programs, the rapid rehousing initiatives. They are fully funded and fully operational in virtually every county in this country right now. HUD's Continuum of Care program funds over 7,000 projects nationwide designed specifically to move people from street homelessness back into permanent housing. The McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act has been federal law since 1987, guaranteeing homeless children continued access to their schools regardless of housing status. None of this is classified. All of it is taxpayer funded. And yet, the people who need it most, especially people experiencing homelessness for the very first time, have essentially no functional access to it, unless someone who already knows the system tells them directly where to look. That gap between what exists and what a person in acute crisis can actually reach is not the result of poor design or limited funding. It is the predictable consequence of building a system optimized for administrative compliance rather than urgent human navigation. Every intake form, every eligibility question, every mandatory assessment interview, a barrier that someone in the middle of a crisis has to climb over before they reach any help at all. The people who make it through are not the most resilient. They are not the most resourceful. They are simply the ones who, somehow, in the chaos of a housing emergency, found out the rules of a game nobody announced they were playing. You are not failing at survival. You were handed a board game with no instructions and told to win. The failure is not yours. Layer 4. Food. This is where most people's instincts run directly against their best interest. The crisis instinct is to spend whatever cash you have on food immediately. The correct move, counterintuitive, and consistently verified by outreach workers, is to locate free food resources as fast as possible and protect your cash for things that cannot be free. Bus fare, document replacement fees, emergency storage, genuine contingencies, soup kitchens, meal programs, and food pantries exist in every metropolitan area and most rural counties. In the overwhelming majority of cases, they require no proof of address, no ID, and no program enrollment. You show up and you eat. Many serve multiple meals per day. Churches, mosques, temples, and independent community organizations run these programs entirely outside the government system, which means they carry far fewer barriers than official social services. A simple search for free meals near me today will surface options most people never knew existed. The 211 call you already made will give you a current, local, specific list. SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, has an expedited processing track for households with little or no income and minimal liquid resources. Federal law requires states to process expedited SNAP applications within 7 calendar days. In genuine emergency circumstances, some states move faster. This is not widely advertised. If you walk into any Department of Social Services office and say the words expedited SNAP, you are invoking a specific federal regulatory mandate. You're not making a general request. Learn the language. The language opens different doors. Layer 5. Safety. This requires honesty about things that rarely get said plainly. Newly homeless people are disproportionately targeted in street environments. They are more visible when they are disoriented. They are often carrying everything they own in a single bag. They are usually unfamiliar with the social geography of street life, who to trust, which locations are contested, which individuals can help and which cannot. The safest window of night is early evening. The highest risk window, consistently documented by street outreach organizations, is between 2 and 5 in the morning. Foot traffic drops to near zero and visibility disappears. The most effective safety practice is also the most counterintuitive. Within the first 24 hours, locate where longer-term unhoused individuals gather in your area. Those people know the terrain. They know which blocks are safe and which are not, which shelters are better than others, and which outreach workers can actually move resources. The instinct to stay apart from other homeless people, to maintain distance from that identity, is the exact opposite of what keeps a first-timer safe. Informal community, even temporary community with strangers, is your primary security infrastructure in those first 3 days. Use it. If you have a car, sleeping in it is statistically safer than an exposed public space, but it carries legal complexity. Many cities have vehicle dwelling ordinances. Parking in residential areas overnight generates complaints and police contact. The documented safest options for car dwelling are designated safe parking programs, which now exist across more than a dozen states and dozens of cities. Large 24-hour retail parking lots that many national chains tolerate and some explicitly permit, and commercial or light industrial areas where overnight vehicles are less conspicuous. Never park in the same location 2 consecutive nights if you can avoid it. Layer 6. The bridge out. This is what you begin building in those first 72 hours, the thing that moves you toward permanent housing rather than permanent survival mode. Emergency shelters are not housing, they are stabilization resources. The goal from day one is to make contact with the coordinated entry system, the HUD-mandated local pathway to longer-term housing assistance that every continuum of war is required to maintain. Entry into that system begins with a standardized vulnerability assessment, commonly called the VIS-PDAT, or a similar tool depending on your region. This assessment scores your need. It determines your priority for housing resources, including rapid rehousing assistance, transitional housing, and permanent supportive housing programs. The earlier you complete it, the earlier you are in the queue, not the earlier you find housing. The queue for many of these programs is long, but the earlier you start waiting, the earlier you stop waiting. Ask for it by name. I need to complete a coordinated entry assessment. Any shelter, any outreach worker, any social services office in any city in this country should be able to connect you to this process. Completing it in the first 72 hours is the single most impactful action you can take for your medium-term housing outcome. Not doing it is the most common mistake that keeps people in street homelessness for months longer than the system technically requires. If you are finding this useful, share it. Text it to someone. Post it somewhere it might reach someone who needs it, because someone in your network is either going through this right now or is one crisis away from it. These numbers are not declining. The housing market has not resolved, but the knowledge of how to move through a housing emergency efficiently, safely, and with your options intact should not require knowing the right person or stumbling across the right video. Here is your complete 72-hour map, most immediate to most involved. Call 211 tonight. Get the location of the nearest emergency shelter with availability and the nearest meal service. Write those addresses somewhere physical, not just in your phone. If your phone is dead, go to a library, a fast food restaurant, or any shelter that has a charging resource. Find one before night falls. Photograph your ID and every document you have immediately. If you do not have ID, walk into the first shelter intake and say the words, "I need help recovering my ID." Those words trigger a specific program in virtually every system. Do not wait. Do not assume it is too complicated to solve. Locate free food resources through 211 or a basic search. Use them every day. Do not spend cash on food. Your cash is for transportation, documents, and genuine emergencies that cannot be solved any other way. Ask every shelter worker and every social services contact you encounter this question. Have I completed a coordinated entry assessment? Keep asking until the answer is yes. That assessment is your formal position in the housing queue. Without it, you do not exist in the system that is supposed to help you. Do not sleep alone in an isolated location on night 1. Use warming centers, hospital waiting areas, 24-hour transit hubs, or 24-hour commercial spaces. Stay visible, stay near people. Being seen is not a vulnerability, it is a strategy. The people who built the informal knowledge networks of street survival, the veteran unhoused individuals who know which shelters have open beds on which nights, which outreach workers can actually move resources, which programs have funding and which are running on empty, those people are not failures of the social system. They are its unacknowledged engineers. They mapped, through trial and dangerous error, an entire landscape that nobody handed them instructions for. What they know should be public. It should be taught. It should be placed directly in the hands of every person the moment their housing becomes unstable, not after the first terrifying night has already passed. The knowledge was never lost. It was never made available in the first place. We are going to keep making it available here. Every resource, every protocol, every gap between what the system promises and what it actually delivers. Subscribe, because this knowledge should already be yours. And tell us in the comments, what situation do you want us to map next? Shelter intake with children, emergency Medicaid enrollment, housing court for the first time. Whatever it is, we will find the actual pathway through and lay it out exactly like this. Nobody should have to figure this out alone on the first night. And now, a few more people won't.